good? Welcome back to the Stratucation series. This is going to be episode 4 of the series for anyone who has not watched episode 1, 2, 3. Definitely recommend y'all go watch those first before you watch this if you are still like new to the strat and trying to learn and whatnot. Anybody returning, shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all supporting the channel, showing love. Let me know these videos really help y'all out and all that good stuff. So appreciate the support, man. Don't go unnoticed. So all right, with that being said, let's get into the video. Today, we are going to talk about broadening formations. I know this is one of the toughest things for a lot of people who are learning the strat, trying to learn the strat, trading the strat. It's a tough thing for a lot of people to gauge and implement into their trading style efficiently. So I think that comes from a place of just overthinking and misunderstanding, kind of. So I'm gonna try to break it down and simplify things for y'all. All right, so before we can get into it, we got to know, what is a broadening formation, right? Like what is this? What is this shit? You know what I'm saying? So a broadening formation is just price expansion. It's price discovery, right? What that means is price is expanding its range. It is making higher highs, making lower lows in comparison to its previous price action. You can also say that it's breaking levels that it previously set for itself, whether that's on the high end or the low end, but essentially it means the same thing, right? So as stratters, if we're able, my bad, let me go back. Once we're able to identify those higher highs and lower lows and connect those points, we are presented with a broadening formation, right? So a broadening formation is just a charted price expansion, or it's just price expansion charted though. You know what I'm saying? Like we identify the higher high, previous high, lower low, previous low, connect those points, and boom, we get our price expansion, or we get our broadening formation, right? So this is what I mean. Let me take this thing off. Here's our low, here's our high. Here's our lower low, here's our higher high. What do you think we're gonna come do? Probably come back down and make a lower low. But we will let price action decide for us. We will not infer or assume that is what's going to happen, right? So we know what a broadening formation is, right? It's plotted price expansion. Why do broadening formations even exist? All right, and the reason broadening formations exist is because we know outside bars exist. What is an outside bar? We know from episode 1, an outside bar is a bar that takes out the high. Let me zoom in right here. Right? We know outside bars take out the high and the low of the bar before it, right? So boom, there's your high and there is your low, right? This bar took out the high, took out the low, making this a 3, making it an outside bar. If you were to connect these points and maybe go to a lower time frame, this would be another broadening formation on a lower time frame. All right? But instead of it being a 2-3 on a lower time frame, this could be like 2-1-3, 2-2. You know what I'm saying? It would just be like that. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't just be 2 bars like that, right? So, but we know outside bars exist. We know they are prevalent in price action, and so that is why we know broadening formations exist. All right. So now that we know what a broadening formation is, it is price expansion, and it is us being able to identify that price expansion and plotting it. We know why they exist, right? Because outside bar phenomenons are real. Outside bars are on all time frames. They take out the high low, essentially creating a higher high and a lower low, essentially expanding price range, right? All right, so now we know what it is and why they exist. How do we plot this thing, right? Where are these? Where is broadening formations? How do we find them, right? So one thing you got to know with broadening formations is that they appear on all time frames, right? And there's different time frames will have different broadening formations, right? This is the hourly. The high on this hourly is not going to be the high on the weekly, right? It's not going to be the high on the monthly. This is just the high on the hourly. This is a sequence of higher highs on the hourly, right? So we have a high here, previous highs are here. That's our 2 points. We have our low here, previous low here. That's our 2 points. There's our broadening formation. That's our hourly broadening formation, right? Now, like I said, broadening formations are all over the place. They exist on all time frames. What I do personally is I'll go back. I'll go to the month, right? Where do we see our higher highs? We see our higher high here, our previous high here. What do we see our lower lows? We see our lower low here, previous low here. All right. This is the monthly, right? Coincidentally, it's a 2, 3, 3, 2, but whatever. This is the monthly. All right. So once you connect those points, boom, you get your Broadening formation, right? Here's our high, high, lows, right? Let me get rid of this thing. All right. So that's our monthly Broadening formation, right? Now let's go to the week. Where's our weekly Broadening formation? Boom, right here. Again, we get, actually, let's go from the low. Low, high, low, high, low. What do you think we're going to do? Possibly come back up, make a new high. Who knows if we're going to do that, but that's just something that could happen, right? We know what's going on with the Broadening formation, right? So that is the Broadening formation on the week. All right, so let's go to the day. What do you think I got on the day? Another Broadening formation. All right, you guys see what I mean by these things are everywhere? These things are prevalent on all time frames. High, low, highs. What do you think we're going to do? Are we going to come back down, make low lows? I don't know. We will let price action tell us what will happen, all right? But what I'm trying to say is you will have Broadening formations on all time frames, and they will be inside of other Broadening formations, right? So this is the hourly. Look at this right here. This is the one we were looking at earlier. This is the hourly Broadening formation that is a lot more prevalent when you open up the hour, right? Boom. There we go. Easy to see right there, right? But this Broadening formation, if we go back to the day, is technically inside, or it's like on the precipice of this daily Broadening formation, teetering on the highs, right? That's what I mean by Broadening formations are inside. And then this daily is inside the weekly. You know what I'm saying? So there's Broadening formations inside of Broadening formations, and they're on all time frames, right? So what you should be doing when you're plotting your Broadening formations is exactly what I just showed you. Go to the higher time frames, find where it is. Go to the lower time frames, find where they are, see how they interact with each other, see what price action is doing. Is it at the top of a Broadening formation? Is it at the bottom? Blah, 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 right? That's what you should be doing when you're plotting these Broadening formations, and that's what you got to know, is that they are everywhere, and you should be trying to familiarize with yourself on how to identify and find these higher highs and lower lows, right? So now we got that out the way, right? We know what a Broadening formation is. It's price expansion. It is us identifying and plotting that price expansion. We know why they exist, right? Let me break it down one more time. It's a little easier to see on the hour. We know why they exist. It is outside bar phenomenon. Rob says that this is not a technical setup. It is just a phenomenon that happens over and over again with price action, right? So this is an easy way to look at it. Let's just say all this price action is one bar, right? We have our high here. Right there, there's our high. There's our low of this bar. That's one bar. All right, now let's compare that to the previous price action before it. There's our low, there is our high, right there. All right, now I would move this over just a little bit. Boom, and let's just go like that. Boom. All right, what do we see? All this price action right here is an outside bar of all this. All right, this is higher highs, lower lows. This is a Broadening formation, and this is why Broadening formations exist, because the outside bar phenomenon exists and is everywhere, right? So that's why they exist, and that's why Broadening formations are out there. You know what I'm saying? So we know what they are. We know why they exist. We know that they're on all time frames. They're everywhere, right? We know the hourly will be different than the day. The day will be different than the week, etc., etc. All right. So now that we know all that, how do we use this information? You know, what does a Broadening formation tell us as traders, right? And I think this is the part where a lot of people kind of overthink this thing, because honestly, a Broadening formation is not there are many factors that play into trading the strat and why we take trades and how we take trades, et cetera, right? The Broadening formation is not the only factor that plays into taking trades when it comes to strat trading, all right? So this is one of the many, though, All right, so this is what it helps us identify. One thing it helps us identify is exhaustion risk, whether that's on the low end or the high end. And what I mean by exhaustion risk is um, like basically reversal risk, I guess, or rejection risk. However you want to look at it, right? So basically, we made highs here, we made higher highs here. We know outside bars exist. We know price expansion exists. We know after a sequence of higher highs, it is very likely we may have another lower low, right? Broadening formation, boom, we came back, expanding our range. We may come back into the range. That doesn't necessarily mean once price gets here, buy puts, right? That doesn't mean once price gets here, buy calls. That's not what that means, right? That it's just something that helps us, or that's something that we keep in the back of our mind when we see price is at, either the high or the low. We know, all right, there's potential exhaustion risk here. We may see a reversal. If we see a reversal, that is great RR to the upside because we know price is going to come back into the range, right? So that's one thing it helps us identify. Another thing it helps us identify is how to gauge our magnitude. And what I mean by that is how to gauge. What I mean by gauging magnitude, it means like how to gauge how far you're going to take this trade. Where you should be taking your profit, where you should be looking to trim, or where you should be mindful of exhaustion risk, right? So if you took this trade, say, boom, you got a 2 rev right here, 2 right here, and you took your profit here, then you got another 2 up, we know as stratters that we just bounced off the bottom of the BF. We are coming back into the range. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to come back up and test this higher high, right? That's something that helps me gauge my price target, my magnitude on the trade that I may be in or maybe planning to take, all right? Doesn't necessarily mean it will definitely come up and test the higher highs. There's a bunch of things that could happen. Another broadening formation could form right here. Who knows, right? But that's just another thing that a broadening formation helps us gauge. Is like how far we should be taking this trade. When should we be trimming our profits? When should we be mindful of potential reversals, whether they're on at the top, bottom, in the mid, right? There's a bunch of factors that play into this. The broadening formation helps us, right? It doesn't tell us, it just helps us. We have to take into account all the other factors, right? But a broadening formation helps us identify our magnitude and helps us identify potential exhaustion risk, meaning we could get reversals here, or we could break, right? That's another thing I want to say too. Broadening formations are not forever, right? Price will not stay like this forever. It will not just keep bouncing around here. You know what I'm saying? It's not just going to keep doing this. Eventually, price is either going to break. It's going to break this way, or it's going to break this way. But eventually, it'll either go up or it'll go down. It's not just going to stay here, all right? So that's something you got to keep in mind too. So that's what I'm saying. Just because you see price here does not mean buy puts, because we could very well just bust out and just keep going up, break out this broad information, create a new one, and et cetera, all right? So with that being said, since we know broad informations exist on other time frames, we have to keep those other time frames into account when we start approaching those areas as well. That's why I say they are all impactful on price action. All right. Now, all right. So now, I think I kind of lost track. Right. What does it tell us as traders? Magnitude, potential exhaustion. What else? All right. So how do we identify where these things are? All right. So as a trader, as someone charting and checking out charts and whatnot, you need to practice and be able to identify where these higher highs and lower lows are presenting themselves, and you need to plot those, and you need to identify that, oh, that's a broadening formation. We got a high, we got a higher high, we got a low and a lower low. Let me connect that. Oh, lo and behold, we got a BF, right? Something with that though is that this this is the hour, right? Especially with intraday. These broad formations are constantly changing. Price action is constantly doing its thing. So this broad information was not here until it presented itself to me. All right, And what I mean by that is let's delete this. Let's just delete these lines. All right. Now just imagine none of this price action in this gray box is here. All right. We're only looking at this right here. We're only looking at this. All right. Where's our higher high? We have a high here. We have a higher high here. All right. Let me connect these. Boom and boom. All right. There's our top line. Where's our lower low? This is not the lower. This is not the low right now because we do not have a lower low. We did not have this lower low until it presented itself. So I'm gonna act like it's not there. Our low would be here and here. All right. Now look how different that looks. Yep. Boom. Up, down, up, down. All right. Now, when we broke lower, that's something that I kept in mind was, all right, we are breaking lower on the Broadening Formation, along with other things that were going on that day. All right. I did not just take the trade expecting it to dump. Okay. I realized, all right, made a newer low. Let me update my BF. All right. So boom, let's just say now the day kind of presented itself and now we have these three right here. All right. What am I going to do? I'm going to update. Boom. That's my new lower low right there. All right. But now that's a new lower low. Where's our other low? Right there now. And now this is what my updated BF would look like. So now it looks like this. Boom. Low, high, high, low. All right. Now looking at it like that, now what does it look like? All right. Now we got a 2-3 off the bottom of the Broadening Formation. Kind of bullish, right? Who knows? We might come back into the range. All right. Now we get more price action presenting itself. Boom. Oh, we got a 2-2 up or 3-2 on the hour. All right. Boom. What ends up happening? We come back up into the range. Right? Up, down, up, down. I'm guessing we're going to come back down, test the lower lows. All right. So the only thing I'm trying to say and showing you this is that you got to be able to identify these intraday highs and these intraday lows, these higher highs and these lower lows, especially if you're trading, intraday targets, intraday, I don't know, 0DTE contracts, weekly contracts, whatever you're trading. If you are an intraday trader, definitely think you should be plotting and trying to identify where these higher highs and lower lows are presenting themselves to you. Because if you are not doing that, you kind of get in, you're missing out on a lot, man. You really are missing out on a lot. All right, so I think I kind of covered everything pretty basic, pretty fast, Let me just reiterate all the things I just went over. What is a broadening formation? It's price expansion. It's us identifying that price expansion and plotting it, the higher highs, lower lows, and boom, we get a BF, right? Why does it happen? Because the outside bar phenomenon. We know all this is an outside bar of all this. We know outside bars exist, and that's why we know broadening formations exist. All right. Not why this happened. What does it help us tell us as traders? Potential exhaustion risk, whether on the upside or the downside, and it also helps us gauge our magnitude. All right. If we're coming down here, coming off the lows, and we're coming back up, what do you think we're gonna do? We're gonna test the higher highs. Same for the lower lows. All right. Where are these broadening formations? They're everywhere. This is one on the hour. This is one on the week, right? The green line. This is one on the day. The purple line right here. You know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. They're on all time frames. You just got to be able to identify them, right? And you will have broadening formations inside of broadening formations, right? Another thing, right? Broadening formations are not forever. They will trade in the range, but eventually it will either go up or it'll go down. It'll break one side of the broadening formation, right? And you should not be taking trades just based off of, we're at the highs, I'm grabbing puts, or I'm at the low, I'm grabbing calls, right? There's other factors that play into that. But that is pretty much it, man. Like, I don't want to overcomplicate it for y'all. Broad information is really, really just price expansion. And we're identifying it, plotting it. We know what it is because we know outside bars are a real thing, and we know price goes up and price comes back down, right? We know if it's going up, making new highs, and it comes back down, it's probably going to come back down, testing new lows, price expansion, right? Basically compound threes all over the place. But that is pretty much it, y'all. I think I covered everything. If I did not, or if you still have any questions about, specifically, broad information and whatnot, definitely feel free to message me. Join the Discord. Just send me a message there. I'm always active on Discord. I'm gonna start doing one-on-ones as well. Be offering one-on-ones. I'll have a little link in the bio for stuff like that. And then yeah, I think that is it, y'all. All right, I appreciate y'all watching the video. Appreciate the support from everybody. And yeah, I will see y'all on the next video. All right, happy strand, y'all. Peace out.